HQ of our operation here. Don't frequently go live on this channel, but wanted to today for some other reasons. Let me fix this right here. Presentation is going to be necessarily a little bit less than you would expect, but I wanted to provide some information for those interested and posted. Kherson, Ukraine is very interesting reality here. It's a front line, it's a city, and it is really, I think, almost certainly for the first time in human history, a place where, for the first time in human history, you have a sky full of human hunting FPV drones. Just a population living, a major civilian population living under a sky full of flying bombs against which there's no defense, and these situations never existed before in human history. There's no playbook for it. It's really the city as a whole. It sits on one side of the Dnieper River. The river is essentially the front. It's the boundary between the parties, and the Russian Federation's on the other side, and that is right down the street. And that is just a very unique situation that, in no way, shape, or form, from a humanitarian perspective anyway, resembles anything that you would typically see. You know, front line is traditionally a big area, and you don't have a lot of civilians anywhere near it. But the geography of Kherson and the fact that it's a regional capital of 400,000 people makes it different. Very little is known about it. In fact, probably next to nothing. We don't have journalists present here. Resident journalists in any serious way. The city's been off limits to foreigners for years. I sort of accidentally became, local and a lawful resident, which is the only way that I can be here by law. Just unfolded that way. You don't have aid groups. You don't have a lot of people on the whole on a percentage basis. 90% of the people that, if you have anywhere else to be, anywhere else to go, you go there. So a very small percentage of people obviously have no place to go, but a small percentage of a big number is a big number. And so, hey guys, how are you? My name is Ben. My name is Ben Dusing. Nice to meet you. This is World Aid Runners Inc., and we're a small grassroots NGO that I co-founded and direct here in Kherson, Ukraine, directly on the front in the south here in Ukraine. So in any event, it is a very interesting place, but almost certainly. I don't see how it could be different. What you're talking about is, really, for the first time in human history, you have a major, a major civilian population experiencing the generational change in warfare known as the FPV drone, and living under a sky full of flying bombs against which there's no defense, and which really just shut down movement. Warfare has changed completely over the past couple of years, and now that's how the war is fought, and almost certainly how other wars will be fought. But these are short-range weapons, at least the FPV drones, and the power of them is in the number. In the news, at least as far as I have occasion to look at it, you're talking about long-range drones that strike Ukraine's cities. Fair enough. I speak Russian, not Ukrainian, but we're doing this in English text. So it's sort of I don't see how it isn't. I can't imagine how exactly it would be. There would be any instances um, where this is the case, and it provides a very interesting study, I think, for that reason, in what the future looks like. Not just of war, we are on top of a war, but this is also, a civilian population that is living under a sky full of human hunting drones, and the effect of that is to shut down movement, and the effect of that is a big problem. Um, the drones crept onto the scene. I don't know. The killer drones, kind of the end of 2024. But at first, you know, not, certainly it wasn't like the skies were infested. Um, Not good for the first time, to have flying bombs above your head that you can't see, can't hear, don't miss, and against which there's no practical defense. But it wasn't like it shut everything down right away, and not good to have some of those flying around. But from that point forward, just increasing in numerosity. And as the drone era took hold, um, leading up to that point of what I call functional saturation, which we reached a long time ago, and and so the effect of that is just simply to shut down movement, and that's a problem. There's a lot of fear about what happens next. Um, there's difficulty. I mean, supply is a problem. If you can't move, you can't do anything. People can't get places that they're trying to go. The cities, especially the front half of the city, is largely destroyed. So there's not many places left. But people, to the extent that people can get medical care, it's difficult to get that. You're risking your life to get that. To the extent that people need to get to one of the remaining pharmacies here in the city center, you're risking your life to do that. Especially the vehicles are targeted. So, and one road in, one road out to the city, which the Russian Federation now makes a special point of targeting. Um, so, you know, the drones are new to warfare and dominate the front line, if you will, which, you know, but for civilians, the FPV drone, 99.9% of Ukrainians, thank goodness, have never uh, really don't know what that is. But here in Kherson, given the absurd proximity to the bad guys, we're separated from them by a puddle of water 500 meters wide. The city is in range of those FPV drones. The city's a front line, essentially, and especially the front half of the city where I am right now, in the city center, about 1 kilometer from the Dnieper River, which is 500 meters wide right here, and the bad guys are on the other side. So um, it is it is a fantastically dangerous environment. Um, if you're outside and you are more than 4 to 5 meters from a secure structure with an open door of the kind that I'm in right now, with the door closed, if the soldier looking through that drone, chooses you, and once you're dead, you're dead. That's just the way it is. So um, it is it's an interesting thing, and because it is so dangerous, you don't have people here to see it, to report on it. Any resident journalists. You don't have any A groups. 90% of the people, anybody that can get out of here, gets out of here. So it's the kind of thing where I think as I've learned, history unfolds, and then people find out about it later. I'm going to do a little bit in Ukrainian and Russian here, or in Russian. Хорошо, так что извините, пожалуйста, потому что я говорю по-русски очень плохо. Меня зовут Бенджамин, я американец, граждан США, и сейчас тоже я резидент по закону в Украине. Я здесь просто помогать людям. После 24 февраля я подумал, что, может быть, я могу помогать людям лучше, чем нормальный человек, просто потому что я говорю по-русски не очень хорошо, но я могу понимать. Так что я приехал в границу, просто не делал бы план. Ну, я смотрел, что я могу помогать. А, необычно. И поэтому я работал еще. Это была моя жизнь на 4 года уже. Ам, Здесь, в Аризоне, и я, я здесь вообще целое время после оккупации. Ам, Это важно. Я думаю, что люди понимают, что это не война. Ам, Это просто военное преступление. Это терроризм. Это геноцид. Как я знаю? Я вижу это с моими глазами. Российские солдаты были здесь, они уехали, говорили, что это как подарок, и они на левом берегу. А, И мы здесь, и поэтому каждый день, целый день есть дроны. Российские солдаты говорят, что это как гуман сафари. И это обязательно ужасно. Обязательно ужасно. Это не война. Война как солдат и солдат, танки, что-то как это. Ну, это просто обычные люди. Старые люди, маломобильные и так далее. И поэтому это обязательно ужасно. Я понимаю, что Российская Федерация говорит что-то по-другому. Но в конце концов, факты и правда. И я знаю, потому что я вижу это с моими глазами каждый день. И это обязательно 100%. После этого, когда мир узнает, что они сделали, как, как, как серьезно, как много. И это невозможно узнать все сейчас, когда есть еще горячая война. Когда мир узнает, что они сделали, это будет, как всегда в истории. А, И обязательно будет результат. Ну, это просто терроризм, это просто геноцид. А, Я живу здесь уже 3 года. Я не видел войну один раз. Это просто военное преступление. Что я вижу, что есть как, может быть, есть российская пропаганда здесь тоже. Ну, в конце концов, факты. Правда. И это не что-то по-другому, просто потому что есть как пропаганда. Говорит что-то по-другому. И я понимаю, я думаю, что я понимаю, что Российская Федерация не хочет, что мир знает об этом. Есть логика, и поэтому есть так, боты и пропаганда и так далее. Ну, в конце концов, факты, правда, и пропаганда это, это не хороший план. Это не хороший план. Поэтому я не волнуюсь об этом в будущем. Будет результат, как всегда в истории, когда есть армия, сделала что-то как криминальное, как как я вижу каждый день с моими глазами. И это не важно, что криминальные говорят об этом раньше, сейчас или в будущее. Важнее всего это, что мир знает, что российские солдаты сделали и что они еще делают. И это я живу здесь, я работаю здесь. Я резидент. И поэтому я знаю точно, ам, это мой опыт. You know, это мои глаза. Моя жизнь. И я говорю как резидент Херсона, как граждан доброго мира, как граждан США, а, просто как амбассадор доброго мира. А, И это очень важно. Это очень важно. Обязательно ужасно. Обязательно ужасно. Я не знаю человека. Если мир видит, что я вижу каждый день, что российские солдаты сделали, что они сделали, будет конец войны очень быстро. В конце концов, терроризм. Это что-то по-другому, чем война. Ну, мы здесь, потому что мы хотим помогать людям. А, Это трудно жить. А, Так что еда, продукты, гигиена, лекарства, памперсы, одежда, такие вещи мы даем, такие продукты. Так что люди здесь могут жить. После этого, после этого мы можем разговаривать о криминальных делах. Российские солдаты сделали и еще делают. Но это будет разговор больше. Сейчас нужно помогать людям. So, и это будет на английском сейчас чуть-чуть. So, I was just saying in English that this isn't. But I haven't seen war here. I've seen more crimes. Um, War, of course, is combatants fighting combat, soldiers fighting soldiers, soldiers targeting defenseless, vulnerable, non-combatant civilians is not war, of course. That's atrocious. Those are atrocities. That's what I've seen. That's what I live. Um, the Russian Federation is on the other side of the river down the street. We're on this side. The Russian soldiers left, said they were giving up the city as a goodwill gesture. It's interesting, goodwill. The Russian Federation won't let Westerners in Russian occupied territory. So none of us were here for that or any of the occupations. But we were, summoned down here immediately afterwards and have been here ever since. So I haven't seen anything I would describe as war since I've been here in the city, which is 3.5 years. I haven't seen a Russian soldier fighting. I haven't seen a Russian soldier engaged in combat. I have, had the experience of you know, the hundreds and hundreds of tank rounds and mortar rounds and artillery rounds being lobbed by the Russian soldiers into this defenseless civilian population. Excuse me, is something I have firsthand knowledge of and have experienced for years, and is going on outside as we speak. And since the drone era began, the practice of the Russian soldiers engaging in what they call human safari, which is the practice of hunting defenseless, non combatant civilians and murdering them, which I have witnessed with my own eyes for a very long time now. And living amongst the sheep being slaughtered, I've certainly had my share of experiences. And um, we have our main platform is on TikTok, World Aid Runners. And if you wanted to, kind of see the downloaded live streams of the crimes against humanity perpetrated by the Russian soldiers against the defenseless civilian population of the city, of which I am one. You can go to that channel and look at the profile and scroll through. Um, there are traditionally, I've found several ways that the Russian Federation endeavors to dismiss evidence of crimes against humanity perpetrated by their soldiers. One is that if it's a Ukrainian that is the source, then they claim that it's Ukrainian propaganda. But these are videos taken by me. I'm an American citizen, a non-combatant, an aid worker. Somebody, you're just in a position to witness those atrocities. So that's obviously not the case with me. I have no dog in the fight. Obviously, we're here to help the people in a position to witness war crimes, recording them. Um, so that's the first way they dismiss evidence of that. The other way that they dismiss evidence of the crimes against humanity perpetrated by the soldiers is, to claim that videos are have been doctored, have been manipulated. And the truth is that in the modern era of artificial intelligence, videos and photographs, they can be manipulated. But that's why we live stream. And the downloaded videos on the TikTok profile for World Aid Runners Inc. There, those aren't videos per se, but downloads of the live streams, which capture in real time. Obviously the real time truth in which is broadcast and captured by whoever's watching it at the time. So that objection as well is of no moment. You cannot, obviously, manipulate or doctor, sort of truth in real time, and that's what those videos are really, downloaded live streams. And then, another way that the Russian Federation, in my experience, sort of dismisses the objective evidence of the massive crimes against humanity perpetrated by their soldiers is to allege, sort of as a last ditch effort, maybe that whoever is involved is a mercenary. That's their favorite word, that has some kind of financial tie. And the truth is that, I mean, even aid workers, our organization is grassroots. I, in fact, bankroll the organization. All this is an outgrowth of, sort of my, I'm unique, can be uniquely helpful here. And that's um, why I've dedicated the last 4 years to this. But, so we are a registered 501c3 in the United States, but nobody gets paid. I pay for the operational expenses of the organization with the help of some people from time to time, and we raise money to get all the food, medicine, hygiene, and clothing that we need to pump out of this place. So, if you're interested in helping us save thousands of lives, please reach out. Um, but we don't have any financial tie whatsoever to anything or anyone else. It's all my money and those that donate to the cause, invest in the cause. And so, any kind of claim that um, there's any kind of so those objections, really obviously don't work in my particular instance. Um, and so people far more important than me, having sort of taken note of my unique situation some time ago, you know, sort of explained how important it is to live stream and to broadcast and to preserve in real time what the Russian soldiers do to the defenseless non-combatant civilians here. And that's not hard for me to do, considering that I'm one of them. So, in a lawful resident, it's granted that status, and that's the only way I can be here. The city's been off limits to foreigners for a long time, and I'm told, and I have no contrary proof. I'm the only foreigner that is resident here, and that's only because I'm not a foreigner. Became local, was granted that legal status, sort of like green card, status in the United States, a lawful resident. So. Um, we are typically on the TikTok platform under World Aid Runners Inc. Um, the Russian Federation does not appreciate that channel and does everything it can to shut it down. Occasionally, we end up in kind of temporary timeout, which we are right now for a few days. But I thought that would be a good opportunity to get on here um, and to say the things I've said. Um, every day here can be your last. Every 20, the war doesn't stop. Uh, Tank rounds, mortar rounds, artillery rounds, nonstop. Around the clock. Not on us right now, but it's just rotates throughout the city. The Russians on the other side of the river down the street, and then the drones above our heads, hunting people and things. Wholly without regard, wholly without regard to whether it is a combatant or non-combatant, and over. All of the mass murder that is perpetrated by the Russian soldiers here every day. Um, these are ordinary people. These are it's the intentional targeting and slaughtering of defenseless non-combatant civilians, which of course is the very definition of a war crime and an atrocity. In my experience, the Russian Federation will claims, well, that's war, but it of course is not. War is tanks fighting tanks, soldiers fighting soldiers, and there's obviously going to be a collateral consequence to combat whatever, and that's tragic. But that's very different than the intentional targeting and murdering and maiming of defenseless non-combatant civilians. So that's something entirely different, and that of course is very much a war crime and very much atrocious and an atrocity. So I want to get on here and talk to whoever's listening and be able to post this in the event every day. There's no place here that's safe, and lots of every day could be your last. Every moment could be your last. And I think it's important truth. So I wanted to say those things. We're here trying to keep the local population alive. Our mission is to sustain the human lives that can't sustain themselves until they can sustain themselves again. That's it. That's all that's achievable in this environment. This is in the end, the only foreign humanitarian organization that's resident here. With full time boots on the ground, full time resident operations. That's in part because foreigners aren't allowed to be here, and I just sort of in a weird case where that was the case. But the free store at the front here, which is kind of what we one of the main the core thing, and it's just getting food, medicine, hygiene, and clothing to the local population, which is very difficult, given that it's very difficult to move under a sky of human hunting FPV drones being flown by Russian soldiers hunting civilians. And so, if you're inclined to help us do that, we need all the help we can get. So I wanted to record that, and thank you guys for your time and attention. I'll try and get on this channel more and more, and I'm going to publish the truth and bear witness to the crimes against humanity that I've witnessed, perpetrated by the Russian soldiers here for the purpose of posterity. And in the event, every day there's going to be 10 to 20 non-combatant defenseless civilians murdered or maimed by the Russian Federation soldiers. Virtually all of them with being hunted by the drones above our heads. So it's important truth, and if I don't survive it, I'd like that truth to survive it, and for the world to know. So anyway, God bless you. I'll post this. I'll be back from time to time. Hope you have a great day. Slava Ukraine, Arab Slava. God bless.